Hello and welcome to Be Powerful with Liz and Lee. It's a new day and we're so glad you're here.
So you can expect to hear candid conversations on what it means to be powerful. Live authentically, live in the midst of ups and downs, productively, and above all else, joyfully.
We are so thankful for you, our community of listeners, and we hope you enjoy today's show. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lee.
Any news?
Nah, nothing much going on. How about you? Anything happening?
Nothing big, nothing important, nothing that I care about. Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Last Monday, a week ago, you knew that you had a big surprise planned for me, and I had no idea. And
Yes.
You really nailed it. We have a real engagement, folks, a real proposal, a real impending wedding or something. We don't know.
Yeah, no, it's like, hey, it took going on national TV. It took a lot of prompting, actually. And then I remember, you want me to tell the story?
You going to start?
You want me to?
Can I fix
or do
your
you want to
snake
talk about my
necklace?
outfit first?
We can talk about your
I think I look a little bit like a combination of Wilma Rubble. Yeah. And Jane Fonda. What do you think?
That's a great combo.
Wilma Rubble and Jane Fonda.
Is that a Rubble?
That's my
It's
look
Barney.
Barney and
Flintstone.
Betty. Barney and Betty.
Barney and
Rubble.
Betty.
And Wilma and Fred Flintstone.
The Rubbles and the Flintstones.
I'm Wilma Flintstone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I
So-
guess that makes me Betty Rubble.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know how this all works out.
No, we're not going to let you hide under the table for this one. We know y'all saw on Instagram. We know you saw on television, and on last podcast was the actual real clip from the show. But we went on the Tamron Hall Show last week.
Yes.
In my knowledge at the time, we were going on the season premiere to just recap our year and see what's going on, which was true because they emailed both of us and we were both had pre-interviews.
Well, first of all, weren't we flattered? I mean, this is the season premiere of season number 5 for Tamron Hall. She's now an Emmy Award winner. She's nominated again. She's the #1 talk show on daytime TV. And we got asked to go live on her season premiere morning. And I mean, I was so dumbfounded, really. That they invited us. I was like, wow, this is great. Yeah,
we'll super go. Cool. And the reason this is worth clarifying is because we've had rings. People think we already engaged, already married, etc.
Really need to happen. We need to clarify.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what happens. The producers email us. Here's some info. Liz, what has been up? You write an email back. They're like, great. Let's do a Zoom call with Lee and then Liz and talk about what's been going on this year. So we did that. And we knew we were going on September, whatever the date was, 5th. Oh, right. I should know that date. Yeah. Very important date in my life now. So we were going on September 5th. And all the time, I just think, we're just chatting about how we are, and the theme was let's be free.
Right. Which is
so we were talking about how we've changed in our relationships and our communities and our whatever about feeling free.
Yes.
So little did I know, take it away,
that I got a special call right after our main call from, and again, I'm going to background it with the Tamron Hall Show staff, everyone from the people that put your mic on you, to the top producers, to the makeup, to everybody, are literally the finest people I've ever met. Am I correct?
Oh, amazing.
I mean, there was nothing but welcome, warm, everything's cool, no worries, let's go. So, I mean, their producer called me after we talked.
How much longer? Like a couple days?
It was a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a couple of days.
I'm still trying to piece this all together.
We didn't have a lot of time. This is we had a 2-week window on our initial call. And then he called me right back a couple of days later and he said, you guys just sound great and all this is good, but would you consider proposing to Lee on the show? And I'm like, can I call you right back? I mean, it blew my mind because let's just explain real quick.
Got it.
These rings, you got yours.
Yeah. So this looks like an engagement ring.
Which makes sense because it is, but it was sort of a commitment ring.
Right. So when you gave this to me several years back, the conversation was, do you want to go pick out a diamond? Yeah, that's great. It was a Tuesday. We were like this, dressed in workout, went to our favorite place, Diamonds Direct, and worked with amazing Christy, found the ring pretty immediately, but you were busy. You had to go across the street to get your hair done like you do on Tuesdays. And you were just like, here's my credit card. Get what you want.
So romantic.
There was no proposal. There was
proposal.
We just went and did that.
My proposal was, would you like to wear a diamond? But, this isn't necessarily mean we're going to get married, because I had an absolute aversion to marriage.
Right.
I mean, marriage, as you know, if you've listened to the podcast, for me, is pretty much, let's just lock the key in the jail and say,
throw the key away.
So long to any freedom, any choices you may have. And so I'm not a big marriage proponent. So
even though you were married for 37 years.
Oh no. And I was in a good marriage, as I've always said, until it wasn't. Right. And then it felt hard.
Right.
And I don't want that to happen again.
That's right. Neither of us do. We are on the same page. So at that point, what was funny too was we went out to dinner with our friends, and he said, so you're engaged now, and you're like, no, we're committed. And he was like, so what were you yesterday?
Yeah.
Like, not committed?
Yeah.
What is happening?
It was very vague.
Yes. And like everything we do, it's a little bit upside down and different in the way we like to do it.
We just are nonconformist
We're also older. I don't need to get married to be settled down, to have stability, to have children. We certainly don't need any more children. We don't need anything. We really, really love each other. Okay, so that was one. A year after, we went and got your ring.
It was 9 months to be exact.
Okay.
I decided you were ready. It took me 9 months to get this ring.
Just to put on a diamond with no commitment whatsoever.
With no commitment, to just say, I'm wearing it on my left hand. So again, everyone assumes, as they should assume, that we're engaged, which we kind of were. I mean, we didn't say no.
Right.
People go, oh, you're engaged. We go,
We'll get married, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
That was the thing.
Yeah. And so this was the non-committal commitment ring.
Yes, that's what we started with.
And so then when Gregory, or one of the producers, called me, and he said, Liz, would you consider actually proposing on the show with Tamron? And I literally, I was like, I was speechless. I just went, can I call you right back? What?
Sure.
What? So it took me I don't know, not very long to go, well, why not? Yes.
How long?
I don't know, 5 minutes.
Oh, look, you called him back that day.
Oh, that day, that minute, a couple of minutes.
Aww.
And because it made me, I mean, of course it's cool because we were on live TV, and we really do. We just love that whole crowd there. Tamron Hall is just amazing. But it was also I am committed to you. And yes, I do want to marry you. And I want to marry you the same way I've always wanted to be with you, which is freely, openly, and happily, and not caged and boxed in.
Right.
So I just said to him, I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, this is great. This is great. And I said, now you remember, of course, we already have these rings. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this on the show. And he goes, don't worry, we'll come up with something. It'll be fine. We'll don't worry. We can take it from there. We'll come up with something. And so without anybody asking me or prompting me, including, I did not ask anybody or tell anybody I was doing this.
I love that.
I'm in no makeup, schlepping around, going to the Harris Teeter. And I'm like, I'm going to run into Diamond Strike and see if Christy's in there. And then I had no idea what I was really going to get. But I saw these round, there it is, the round diamond wedding rings. And I thought, now there's a good engagement ring, actual wedding ring.
Right. We just do it in reverse.
Yeah. So that's what I did.
It's gorgeous.
And on the show, I said, would you wear this wedding ring to possibly?
I'm not sure you said that.
Y'all have it. So
who knows?
Whatever I said, I don't know what I said. That was the other thing. I wrote this whole thing out. Okay, let's back up one more time.
Okay.
I don't want to overdo this, but honestly, I started getting nervous.
Yeah.
Going, how am I going to do this? So then I get back up on the phone with both of the producers, the head producers, assistants, and all these things. And I've got this ring now. And the night before we flew out to New York, I get a call from the head producer, and he says, I need you to write something down, or just have in your head, you need something that maybe we can know you're going to say, and it needs to be 30 seconds or less, because it's live TV, for God's sakes. They're going to cut you off, right? And so I thought, holy cow. I mean, okay, I can do this. But I did it. And so I wrote it immediately right out. And as a matter of fact, I wrote it on a piece of paper to you. And then I rewrote it about 185,000 times until very late at night. And then I memorized it. Okay. And then we flew out the next day to New York. We had 2 days to go. And the whole time I'm saying it over and over in my head. I've got it totally memorized, but just in case, I have it on a sheet of paper. Oh, and meanwhile, I'm coming down with some kind of like, I don't know, jungle fever or something. All of a sudden, I like was shaky and scared and got sick, but I wasn't sick. I was just freaking out sick. You know what I'm saying?
You do this.
I just was like, I don't feel good. But what do
what are we going to do?
I didn't have any diseases. I was not sick, but I was sick. I felt bad. So I was like, I'm just going to, I can't tell Lee. So I have all this written out. So I go, right before we go on the show, the producer goes, you ready? And I'm sliding him the ring in the box. He goes, I'm going to put it behind the sofa on your right.
On the cushion.
Behind the pillow. And so I decided I would take my phone on with my notes, not to be on my phone on Tamron Hall Show, just, take pictures after because, hey, Macy Gray was there, whatever. Great. So we got a lot of shots, but I had my phone and behind my phone, I had my speech.
Your speech.
It wasn't a speech. It was 30 seconds of proposal.
Heartfelt love.
It was sat right where it was. I said none of those words. Maybe I said
you
one
were
or
close.
two.
You nailed a few of the words.
One or two of the words.
Landscape.
I used the word landscape. So random. But anyway, I was really nervous and you were shocked. And that's what it meant.
I was completely shocked. I get it. Like we had great pre-tape interviews and that's all fine. But you were really good at speaking on your feet and waxing poetic and all these things. And I get a little more nervous and need to know what I'm going to say and what we're talking about. The first time we went on was easy breezy conversational. So it wasn't
ask me a question.
That worried. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I was still thinking about what was going on. So I noticed that you had a phone call with a producer and you were not telling me what it was about. And so I kind of got my
Jesus.
What
your ass up on your shoulders?
Yeah, you usually say fanny.
Okay.
I got a little bit peeved. Like, if we're going on this together, could I get a little insight? Like, if you don't want me to be on the show and this is a Liz show, then just tell me. I don't need to go on.
That's when I went, oh my God, I can't handle this. I did handle it, but I was like, I couldn't tell you anything.
I know.
And you were like, why are you talking to him, but I'm not?
Like, let me know what y'all are talking about. I don't want to look like an asshole.
We're just talking about the basic stuff. We're going to talk about how our relationship is free. We're happy. We're committed. And we're just, living life beautifully.
Right. And I'm like, okay.
There's no specifics here, Liz.
Right. And I wasn't on to anything, like not at all, and I never was. But looking back, obviously, get what was happening. And then before we left, you were run down and on the verge of getting fake sick, pressure sick.
It wasn't even sick. It was weird sick. It was like, oh my God, I need to lay down.
I don't know if that bodes well
my mind
for me in this proposal, but you were losing it. And so I was trying to help you, as I do. You had a carry-on bag, like a roller bag and kind of a weekend tote bag with like shoes and toiletries that I was going to help rearrange. And you jumped on me about putting my hands in that bag, which I just chalked up to you being sick because you do not get upset with me or raise your voice or do anything. And I was just like, okay, of course the ring was in that bag. Yeah. So you didn't
I didn't want to go through my stuff. So I went, instead of going, I'll get whatever you're looking for or whatever you're trying to do. Yeah. I'm good. I went, get out of my bag. That's pretty much how I said it, which is not nice.
Or not what you usually do. And still, I just thought, well, she's doing her sick thing, so no problem.
Anyway.
You do your bag by your damn self.
Yeah.
They were like calling you out a little bit more once we got to the show.
It was so
because you had to give them the ring and whatever. And then I was having a little bit of a hissy fit at the end because there were a lot of people on that day. And the first time we went on, they did our hair and makeup and it was amazing. And I was like, I cannot go on without hair and makeup. She's got to help me with my eyes. And finally I got in there. It was fine.
Last
and I'm really glad that we did because that is a very memorable, wonderful occasion to have.
Who has a proposal that's on film on national TV? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. But I do it, I'm going to do it big.
All or nothing, baby.
Right. We're in now.
All or nothing. So it was an amazing experience. We went about halfway through. quick episode, watching it back, like we didn't hear there was music piping out when they wanted you to start the proposal, and we're just kind of talking, and she goes, "Take it away, Liz." And you did your super sweet proposal. I did kind of start crying, and I was completely confused. You gave me this ring that I'm obsessed with, and
now
it's
show
gorgeous.
It. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And it was just really, really special.
Thank you.
But there were some funny parts. So they were doing a lot of giveaways that day. And so she comes out with a tray of stuff to put on the ottoman in front of us and kneels down and starts going, blah, blah, blah. And we're not paying attention at all.
I've done my spiel. I have asked her to marry me. She's got the ring on. We literally kind of leaned back on the sofa and our job is done.
Right.
And she, unbeknownst to us, she had this whole tray of wedding stuff.
Invitation stationery.
For us. And it finally clued in that she's talking to us, that Tamron's talking to us.
I mean, she's shouting out her sponsors.
She's looking out at the audience, but we realize the camera is still on us. So, this is actually we won something.
What a little wedding package.
So, I mean,
we're in the midst of getting that. But that's super
that was
cool.
exciting. So that's happened.
Super cool. I will throw out one other thing that's probably confusing is, and I say in the segment that I have a wedding dress. People are like, wait, what? You weren't getting married and you have a wedding dress. Yes.
This is why it's confusing. This is why even my own family comes up to me and goes, wait. I thought y'all were already engaged. Lee's got a wedding dress. I'm like, yeah. No. Yeah. Like I said on national TV, that was a ballsy move. I realized I shouldn't say the word ballsy on national TV, but I did.
It was fine.
They didn't block me out, like least,
But why I did was this. So a long time ago.
I'd like to know this too.
We've already had our diamonds and have talked about potentially getting married at some point, and we know why we do and what we don't.
Who can dance around getting married better than me and you? But anyway, go ahead.
So the store in town, our friend Natasha at Ladies of Lineage was having a trunk show and an Instagram rabbit hole. I saw this dress that was going to be there. And I just said, if we do ever get married, that's the one. Mm-hmm. That's the one. It's different. It's unique to us. It's super me. I went and tried it on and said, I'll do that.
She dropped some real money on this too. She rolled in with not only the dress, but the shoes, the earrings.
Yep.
And I looked at her like, where are you going? And
who are you doing this with?
When is this happening? And so once again, the other non-traditional thing, I said, put it on. Let's see it.
Yeah.
And
you've seen it.
Did. And it is amazing. So you guys if you come and see this wedding, whenever
we can't tell you when or where.
Whenever this thing happens, you're going to look good.
Yeah. And it's the type of thing where, if we don't have a wedding, which we're doing now.
We're going to have a wedding.
Then
We've already said we would.
Use it.
I went to all that trouble.
You'll see.
Yeah.
That's so sweet and romantic. To all that trouble to propose to you. So I think that kind of clarifies, I hope, the confusion that we are engaged. You did do an actual proposal with an actual ring.
With a ring.
And
you've got so many rings now. She's got 2 rings. We're thinking about a third ring. Like a 3-ring circus situation.
We are the 3-ring circus. But thank you. And I love you. And I did say yes.
Yes.
And the confetti popped.
That was the other thing.
We were shocked.
Is there any way she's going to say no? And no. She'll say yes.
Yeah. It's game on. And I've always known, to be serious, I've chosen to be with you because I love every single bit of you. I like us together. I like us apart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a better me by myself. I'm a much better me with you. And that's what the show was about to me. It's freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you said at the beginning, marriage to you was like, a cage and locking the door and throwing the key away at a point.
At a point.
But that hopefully what the point of proposing on that show was the freedom that we do have.
Mm-hmm. It's the choice.
Yep.
The choice to really choose love, to choose commitment, knowing that we don't have to, and knowing that one of the reasons we haven't done it legally is we don't really want to be in the legal system.
Right.
But we're going to go in there with our eyes open and notice that, like we talked about yesterday, if you're going into a marriage situation and you're at a certain stage of life, like I am, or even you, we have no need, we're not having family, we're not doing any of those sort of things, but there are perks to it.
That's right.
There are legal perks. Like we've said in other podcast episodes, the U.S. government, they want us to get married. They want people to be married. They give you tax breaks. They give you, visitation rights in hospitals. And we would have all of those things that we wouldn't have if we didn't do this legally. So I think we are going, no, I won't quit saying, I think We're going to do it.
We're going to move forward and do it in a way that feels very comfortable
and organic
to both of us.
Yes.
What I hope our marriage will be is a continuation of and a further flourish of and a further evolution of our love. And I'm just grateful that I get to do that with you.
That's really well said and nicely done. And
they should ask me to do
I pretty much don't have anything else to say after that. Yeah, that's really good. I want everybody to have the freedom to have that kind of a marriage. And if you don't have that kind of a marriage, to reevaluate it and assess it and things like that. Because,
right.
I mean, it's a big commitment. I mean, and also I think a society puts a lot of pressure on us.
There we go.
And we don't have that pressure. We dropped the pressure the day we became me and you.
That's right.
It comes at us all the time. It's there. It's not like it's not coming at us. We just choose not to feel it. We don't acknowledge it. So if you don't acknowledge something, it doesn't affect you.
Well, and I have this in my head a little bit as an analogy of that life is ups and downs. Relationships they're changing, they're evolving, and people individually and together go through ups and downs. Whereas I feel like I'm in a balance with you where I care about like the equal weight and the partnership and the doing things for you and you do the vice versa and doing things for us and being in that space of freedom and love. You know, societally, when we happen to be younger, there's like a ladder instead of a balance where you're just trying to go to the next rung and that ladder's not supported by anything or even leaning on anything. It's like, what's coming next? Next is an engagement. Next is a wedding. Next is a job, a child, a home, a bigger home, a career, a blah, 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 instead of this growth together. And one of the most interesting, simple but interesting things I've heard, Esther Perel, that I think it was at the end of her TED Talk that in most of our lifespans, we'll have 2 to 3 marriages, some high percentage, I'll get it wrong, but like 90% of that will be to the same person.
Right.
That you don't have to go apart.
Yeah.
And that when you start to do that without trying to come together, then that's when that ladder falls and that crumbles. When you choose to do that together and be, you know, emotionally evolving.
Right. I think marriage is such a massive choice, and that is a good point. And I'm not sure how you figure that out in your 20s or even 30s. I mean, I literally thought I had it together at 40, at 50, but I didn't really get my shit together until I was 60. So when my grandchildren say to me, or when I say to them, don't you worry, I'll be around I never say when you get married. I never say when you graduate from college even. I'm just saying, I'll be around when if you decide to have a baby, I will be here. Right. I never use the context of marriage or of expectation
or the type of partner
of those things, because I'm really hoping that our next generation has more freedom and choice. And I think they will, because with all the hoopla going on in the world right now, especially about, you know, women and gay and all that sort of thing, that's exactly what it is. It's hoopla. It's attention to, it might be bad attention, like that's wrong, but it's attention to saying there are other ways of living life.
Right.
And I think that also pertains, and especially pertains, to heterosexual marriage.
Yeah.
And I wish we had all been more aware. You can go into it in the same way any of us do.
Sure.
But knowing that you're not doing that because it's necessary for your children, I really believe it's not.
Right. No, I mean, we're taught many things and generationally, you know, I grew up in a time period where it was, you know, divorce was beginning to happen more regularly, and now we're at that 50% mark. So listen, I'm not saying I'm excited or glad or proud to be a statistic in that 50%. My wish for people is not that you go through divorce, because it's very hard. I got a second, go in a really wonderful way. But I think we need to be careful of, I am just as curious and excited for people too, to say, oh, when are you getting married?
Yes,
of a couple young and in love. That's a normal thing to say. Well, normal is probably the wrong term, but that's a natural human thing to say and care about.
That either.
I don't think I've ever been like, so when are you having babies? But I mean, chronologically, that's kind of how it happens. But if we can teach our younger generations that, yes, it's hard. Yes, we're here to support, not make it so blind that all you have to do is just make it work, be with this person. Nobody in the family's gotten divorced.
It's just not going to do it.
Or vice versa.
I'd like to
We've gotten divorced, and so it's likely that you will too. I mean, some more work and
I'd like to see the statistics on the marriages that are working. Now, you've got the 50-50.
Right.
You've got those that are still married, those that are divorced. But what's the statistics on those? And I'm not talking about happiness, because happiness is not, that's not what marriage is about. Is it working? Is it working to grow each human being more emotionally, mentally, more well-beingness within that person? Whether it's having a hard time or a good time, we're going to go through challenges in life, and they might be very, very difficult, especially with two people that are in a marriage. But are they willing to open with each other? And that's a good marriage, and find joy even in the darkness, find all those things. And I would venture to say, and I've told you this over and over, I've never seen a really great marriage. I mean, I always, everybody wants to believe their parents had a great marriage, and I really like to believe my parents did.
Yeah.
If they were sitting here with me, I bet they'd have plenty to tell me about that.
Sure.
Because we keep that from our kids. But what if we actually opened the door to our kids a little bit and said, here's the reality of what you can expect when you get married. It's not Cinderella.
Right. Right.
We want it to be Cinderella. We still live in this world where we're going, oh, happily ever after. It just isn't. I'm making my happily ever after every single decision I make, every single day, every single time I look at you and decide you're my happily ever after. And it's not always happily, but it's, I choose you. I choose you on a daily basis. And if I wake up several days in a row and I don't, then we'll have a discussion about that.
Good.
It's, you've got, and that's just life.
Right. And I do feel that it's important to say, in conversations with your partner or with, your children or the next generation, this is what we value. And this is why. Right. And this is what we chose, and this works for us. What I want for you is XYZ, not what I expect.
Yeah.
But, I just believe that there is that tendency in families to just kind of copy what everybody else did. And there's that loyalty and that devotion that's so important, and that big family group together. But there can be kind of a discord or even a discourse within that that I think is healthy in letting, each person and generation kind of grow into their own best self there.
You want to be the mother that your children can come to and say, whew, things are rough in my marriage, or things are rough in my relationship, or I'm totally questioning who I am, or, and not be that mother that says, just make it work. It's harder to be a mother that listens, and listens without judgment, and listens even with judgment, and allows that person, that human, that child of theirs,
right,
to literally be themselves and not go, this is how it's done. I want you to do it the way it's supposed to be done, because that recipe is not always a recipe of well-beingness for every single person.
Right.
And I think that's my wish for my grandchildren and for my own child, is that they look at their lives and their partners and their situations, and they don't make decisions based on tradition.
Right.
They make it based on what's best for them and their people they're working with.
That's right. Well, and there's magic that is created between two people, that you put that person with somebody else and it's different. I mean, we always say you can't know what's going on in somebody else's relationship.
That's
and so we can't pretend to know, but we can know to support. We can know to say, this is what I know, my experience as an older, hopefully wiser person. Your experience, your person is going to be different. And you're going to have different challenges and different joys, but that we support each other through that, I think that's all.
And support 99%, not 90, I would say 90% of the time is listening.
Always.
Support is listening. The minute you start speaking, that's you. Listening to the other human person and really hearing them is really the hard work, but it's also the work that really glorifies life, that really brings your relationship, whether it's with a mother and son or a partner
siblings,
and
partners.
Yeah.
It all translates.
Mm-hmm.
It all translates.
So that's what we're attempting to do that in the institution
within
marriage.
Some laws that you're like,
Oh God,
you can have a prenup. It's fine.
It's gonna be fine. No, we'll be fine.
Moral of the story: we'll be fine. Yeah. I took this big leap. We just talked about it ad nauseum. It'll be fine.
I used the word ad nauseum on the show too. I could not believe I said that word as it came out of my mouth because Tamron goes, "Have you all talked about marriage?" I'm like, ad nauseum. I'm like, that's so. And again, I told Lee, if she just asked me, when do you think the end of the world will be? I would have some answers. I would be able to come off my feet and go, here's what I think. But
here's a prolific answer.
I had to come in here with some kind of a speech.
It was cute. You were nervous.
Nervous, and my body was falling apart.
But it didn't. You looked real damn good.
You did too. And shout outs. Right. Shout outs. Okay. Daniel Costin Design.
No.
Sorry. Daniel's
a photographer. Let's start that over.
By the way, Daniel Costin's good too.
He's a great.
Daniel Gonzalez designed my sunshine yellow outfit, and I love it. He's so good. And if you all don't know him, he's right here in Charlotte. And you just DM us in our what's it called? Our speak box that we have.
Speak pipe in the show notes. We'll link to Daniel Gonzalez.
We will link to Daniel Gonzalez because he's so good.
He whipped that out for you fairly quickly. And I'm not saying he can do that for anybody else, but you were on national TV and his gorgeous design in the yellow. And then
he didn't know I was going to propose either. No one knew. I just said, look, I'm going on. Could you help me? And he goes, he actually was sick during that. He just pulled it together. He's a great designer.
And then my girl, Abby, let me borrow her dress, which looks so good with your yellow. That was the thing.
Abby Brugsworth.
Brugsworth?
That's
not her name. Just call her Abby.
She doesn't care if I know her last name or not. She always goes, it's okay, Liz. Whatever you call me, I'm good.
As long as you get the first name kind of
I got
close.
the Abby down. No, she's one of our best buddies. And she let you borrow her that beautiful blue dress.
So that was pretty. And then, like we said, we love all the team at Tamron Hall. The hair and makeup was amazing.
Yes.
We didn't because we were going too long ahead of the show. Mm-hmm. Going into town too early to get our no shade, but obviously.
Oh, we didn't. We had to cancel no shade, but y'all, we did the best we could.
And I didn't think I was wearing that, but anyway, I did. So generally would do that. Joe Brent gave me a hydrofacial at Infinity Med Spa. That thing was amazing.
Which you'll hear on our
I felt so good.
Little commercial thing. I couldn't go. I would just my schedule went crazy that day.
You were also getting fake sick.
I was getting fake sick. I was just like, what if I'm actually sick? But I wasn't. I was having a fit of nervous energy. So
and then Ring, obviously Diamonds Direct. Go see Christy. We love him there. Any other shout outs?
Oh man, just a life and love and joy.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Thanks. I can once in a blue moon thank American Airlines. I mean, they don't know that they did anything, but we got upgraded on the way home. So we had to leave straight from the show.
Some kind of magical
karma.
Event. Yeah.
So the show flew us up there. We went on Sunday so we could have a day, which was too long for you to ruminate over the thing that I didn't know about. And then the show was Tuesday and we flew straight home after that. And usually we like to stay and like take a breath and have a glass of champagne and celebrate.
Yeah,
that would have been nice.
We needed to do that.
But in the airport, we got a thing. It was like your ticket's been upgraded
to first
class.
So
on the day we got officially engaged, we got up in the front so we could have a glass of fake champagne.
Well, what we did was I ended up ordering a beer and you ordered some champagne.
Sparkling wine.
And we got, because it's such a short flight. New York to Charlotte is like an hour and a half at the max. We got all these like junk food things.
Well, they come around with a basket and you're like, I want more of that. Let's try everything.
So we just popped beers.
Well, because we were nervous and we'd barely eaten all day since 5 a.m. when we woke up. God. But anyway, we came home and we have celebrated and I love you.
I love you too.
So stay tuned.
So stay tuned. We'll let you guys know what comes up next.
But we don't know. So we don't know. Yeah. We don't know where. We don't know when. We don't know if you're coming or not.
Especially the people that are close to us that have been so confused during this whole thing. We weren't really engaged before, but we're really engaged now and we're really going to do it.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Oh, thanks y'all.
Thank
Go out and get engaged.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Like, for real. It's official.
Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.